Shapes that swing.
It's impossible.
And it is virtually.
This episode brought to you by Hollywood. We insult you and talk down to you and act like you can't live without us while our numbers are declining.
Oh, hello, everybody. I didn't see you there.
Hello. Oh.
You just walked
Welcome.
in and here we were.
Who are you?
To Rhett
What are you doing in my house?
ASMR.
Get out
I'm
of
in my
here.
nightgown. Oh, are you here to repair the sink?
Oh.
Oh. Well, how's it going, everybody? It's episode 26 of the Distracted Gamers podcast. Absurd amounts of things to go through. Every week I'm like, oh, we'll get a quiet week so we could have interesting discussions about side bits of information. And then the news just vomits everywhere during the week. And it's like, I actually left important things out that people are talking about. That's how busy this week is. I might go through some side things really quickly, but what are you going to do? There's too much going on. Too much to address, and there's nothing we can do. With me, I have my three other co-hosts. The insane Jason. Jason, how's it going?
Pretty good. Watched some anime called Dimension W. So far it's okay. I'm liking it. Haven't gone back to Horimiya. I will probably finish it. Even though you said that it's horrible,
Don't watch it.
because I started it. I
I've
also
explained it to the other people on this podcast, and they're like, "Oh, why is Jason watching that?" Just to give you clarification, Jason, because I avoided it, it's a boy love show.
Oh,
Get ready for some yaoi.
Jason's new favorite.
Despite the fact I said you're not gonna like it, Jason's like, I think I'm gonna finish this show. It's like, really? You want to finish this show?
God.
Is that up your alley?
no, not
Jason?
really.
Is that
Jason
not
a
your
Fujoshi?
Not anymore.
Confirmed.
Anyway, I did finish. I did finish a book I was reading. It was one of those books where, like, I don't recommend it to anyone. It's called Infernal Justice. The premise is nice. I liked the premise. That's why I picked it up. So, police officer working for a police department in Washington. He's brought into a special unit. The unit deals with supernatural crime. And so I'm thinking, well, that sounds kind of cool. Let me read this. Well, they keep doing things and the writing style of the author pulls you in and everything, gets you going. But the police officer is a complete jerk. There's no reason to like him whatsoever. He also reveals it's like that thing where you're playing a game as kids and the person who makes up the game keeps changing the rules. That's how this police officer is. It's like he gets into a fight and you're sitting there going, oh no, how is he going to get out of this? And it's revealed that he was a mercenary before and he was experimented upon. And so now he's superhuman. And I'm like, you should have kind of led with that, put that out in front right at the beginning rather than he's getting in this fight and there's no threat to him because he reveals it right then and there that, hey, I've had titanium plates embedded in my fists so I can hit harder. I have vampire blood in me that makes it so I'm faster and regenerate and all this stuff. And it's like, Okay. Yeah, it just seems like you're telling me that the goalpost is here, and when I get to the goalpost, you're like, oh, actually, it's over there. So yeah, I don't recommend it.
Reminds me of Force Awakens.
Exactly.
Oh.
Well, it's like, hey, we also got a Death Star, and it's bigger, and by the way, could shoot multiple planets. And I remember playing that game as a kid, where somebody would be like, well, I'm going to pull out my gun and shoot you. And then it's like, yeah, but I'm made of metal. And it's like, yeah, but I've got a gun that shoots through metal. And then it just goes on and on forever.
Exactly. It's every time he got into a situation where there might be a little bit of danger for him, he reveals that like he's got some implant or some biological modification or something that made it so that it was really a non-issue for him.
Jason
And
knows
I'm
how
like,
to
oh my gosh.
how to find the terrible TV shows.
Oh, this is a book.
Activate my
So
trap card.
yeah. So yeah,
Um,
don't read that one. It's one of those. Like I said, the guy does an admirable job with the writing, as far as the action flows. The dialogue is pretty snappy. It moves you along at a good pace, but really there isn't a single character that's worth your time except for the dead lady, who keeps trying to come back and warn people that this Satanist is trying to pull something off. And she was wrongfully accused of murdering her husband and her children, and then executed by the state on the say-so of a corrupt cop. And it's like, she's the only redeeming feature, and she's a ghost, and she's in it for like 5 minutes. After that, it's like everybody else is really terrible. Oh no, there's actually these imps that the guy, the main detective employs, that are kind of fun.
Okay.
But yeah, that's about it.
And
So there
the
was two bright points in the book. The rest of it was pretty trash.
Sweet. And the ridiculous Ross.
Ridiculous Ross here, coming to you from here.
Here.
Where we are currently experiencing World War 47.
It's coming, you guys.
Yeah,
it's coming.
It's super coming. We're skipping a lot of them. We're really going for the end. Yeah, so some of the stuff I viewed or experienced this week, we will talk about in the episode. But watched some Girls in Panzer.
Girls in Panzer.
We watched the first disc.
That is a charming show.
It's very cute. I just wish that we could have seen more stereotypical Italians. I'm really sad they skipped over that. But that's
They
okay.
skipped over the competition fight with the Italians. You're like, oh. I like that their logo was
I wanted
pizza.
to see them do an offensive Italian, and they not do. So, but yeah, it was good. And then, yes, the titular film we watched today or yesterday, I guess. Well, kind of today. We will get to that later.
Silly Silver Vow. I guess I could go with that.
Oh, is that my new title?
I'm winging it. Like, when did I ever plan anything on this podcast?
Great question. Never.
Hurtful.
Very uneventful week. I'm in the last stretch of my calculus class here.
You can do it.
What a nerd.
I'm almost free.
Almost free.
Stop trying to be like a good student and stuff. It sucks. God.
I know, I'm
Jeez.
so boring.
You're trying? Ew.
Ew. Are you trying? Oh.
Ugh.
Yeah, I should be bullied. I deserve this.
You should be.
have
What
it
do you think
coming.
we do on a constant basis all of the time? Most of my attention and brain power is structured around bullying you specifically.
Cat Kaiju deserve only this. This is a fact.
Darkness
deserve
imprisoning me.
You know what? You deserve this.
Oh,
Ah,
Oh God. The oil refinery.
Oh no!
No, I
We need
was
that
gonna
for
go
our
over
industry,
and
Silver.
wreak havoc. I was gonna go wreak havoc on Paris, but I'm too scared of the sin.
Well, they've done enough
It's too gross.
themselves, so it's okay.
Yes, the Olympics are going on. It is a horror show of biblical proportions, and we
Things
have
are going well.
Yeah.
I mean,
perhaps spotted the white horse of death upon the river. I don't know.
I think they think it's Pegasus, but it looks really dumb.
It looks really dumb. The people were planning to poop in the river to piss off some politician, which is funny.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Listen, sometimes you just gotta enter in your primitive French ways, you know?
Your primitive French ways.
Primitive French way.
Really quickly, I watched a movie with Ross. Ross watched Girls in Panzer and talked about tanks.
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of different things. I finally beat Mario Wonderland. Been playing off and on Banished. Gears of War 2. Me and Ross have been doing Gears of War 2 on the side.
God, it's and Red is paying such good attention to the story.
Yeah, the big release, I'm not... I literally had to keep telling you, I was like, I don't know what's happening in this game, because I literally clock out when the cutscenes are on. Like, I pay no attention.
Well,
And
and
we were-
Rhett's favorite thing in the Gears of War franchise is the hand to ear, and you can't walk now. Or
Yeah,
you
they
can
make you
only
walk
walk very
slowly and you
slowly.
can't do anything. I was more distracted by trying to figure out where that song came from.
Did you ever figure it out?
No.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-da.
Ba-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da.
No, that sounds familiar.
Yes, it does, and I don't know what it's from.
Oh no!
You shall all suffer.
Hold
Hold on, I-
Clearly from
Later.
some nerd thing, but you know, I don't care.
I got some music recognition thing later.
Will it recognize my voice?
Spider-Man.
Yes, it's Spider-Man 3.
Oh my gosh!
Thank God Jason's here.
It's Spider-Man
Yeah,
3, and
the
it's
whole
when
time.
Peter Parker's in the black suit. Ah, I knew it was from
Oh
somewhere.
my gosh! You mean, wait, is this Bully Maguire?
Yes, this is Bully Maguire.
When he gets stereotypically Jewish, when he answers the phone with shalom or something.
It's also the it's
what do they
also
mean
the movie where we get so good.
So good.
Oh my gosh! Wait,
Hold on, we have a button for that.
Yeah,
there it is.
Oh God. Ugh.
it's very breathy. So good.
It's very
Just-
breathy.
He's whispering it in your ear.
Ugh.
I want to say I did something. I probably the new Call of Duty came out. The new Call of Duty came out. I played the
down,
single
man.
player. It's mediocre at best.
I'm shocked.
Oh.
Shocked to hear this.
I would not. Do I recommend you play the new Call of Duty? What is it? Modern Warfare 3? No,
New-ish.
no. Don't go play it.
Not even if you have Game Pass, huh?
Unless you have to play the multiplayer and you're one of those competitive douches who've got to get on, then I guess. But I haven't heard anything that says everybody has to play the new multiplayer. And it is loot box and collectible galore to the vomitous factor. So I wouldn't recommend. It's really bad.
Wanted.
However, guess what, everybody? Some big movies came out this week. Last weekend, Twisters came out. I suddenly have the hiccups. I saw Twisters on Tuesday. As I'm going to give a really quick review, non-spoiler. I enjoyed Twisters. It apparently did really well this last weekend. I think it's something like 80 million for its weekend, which is pretty good. Sort of a surprise success. It looks like it probably cost 120, 130. I can't remember. So they're probably going to make their money back and then some. So overall, a financial success. I'm a big fan of the original Twister. This has a lot of the same beats as the previous film. I still prefer the original Twister. It's not a perfect film. It's kind of fun. It's all right. There's some neat moments. If you like big disaster movies, which I'm into, then, you know, it's an inoffensive ride where you don't get preached to about anything, and you just go and watch Twister stuff. So, you know, I would recommend it. But the big movie...
Well, actually sounds kind of fun right now.
Yes, right now. Because literally, in today's current political climate, you would expect something like commentary about global warming, especially when it's related to some natural event. The director deliberately said, I have no intention of including like political talking points in it because not all movies have to make some sort of political message. So there really isn't any political messaging in it. It's just a fine, fun movie. That's it.
That's really kind of surprising, considering
the current climate. I think we've got to the point where that kind of style of movie is scaring people away, and that's why we are where we're at. But I enjoy Twisters. It's a decent time. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the film. Is it amazing? No, I prefer the original, but you know, it's all right. It's all right. However, not to bury the lead, the big movie, the massive film that is released this week is Deadpool and Wolverine. We usually aren't one of those guys that have to get out there the first day and go see the first weekend or whatever. But I was talking to Ross the other day, and it's like, you know, we should see that. So me and him went and saw it at 10 p.m. last night, way into the wee hours of the night. Got together and went and watched Deadpool. Ross, why don't you lead with your overall impressions and stuff, and then we'll go into spoiler territory.
Okay. I will preface this by saying, and I'm noted on the show as having said this before, so this is anyone that's watched before will know. I am not a superhero movie guy. I'm not a comic book superhero guy. Like, I just was never a thing for me. So I've seen, well, now 6 superhero movies in the last 10, 15 years. Most of them being MCU, a couple not. And it was good. I enjoyed it as someone who doesn't get all the references, who doesn't know all these more obscure characters that they reference.
And it is a reference. Little winks and nods and Easter egg.
Constantly.
Like, it is a constant Easter eggy sort of like stuff in the background, stuff referenced. Like, if you're into that, it is just crammed full of that stuff.
Very much so. But it's enjoyable. The comedic writing is very fun for me. There's a lot of it. It comes very fast. If you enjoyed the movie, you'll probably like watching it a second time so you can catch more, because you might miss some of it from laughs in the audience if you're one of the few that goes to a theater anymore. I liked it. I mean, it without getting into too much spoilers, I guess, it deals with the multiverse, so it has that problem, but it deals with it in a way I think that Deadpool can, whereas trying to keep it really serious would be so dumb. And it makes me very glad I've not wasted my time on any MCU movies in the last 6 years, probably.
Right.
Because, wow, what a nightmare. But yeah, it was fun. If you have any interest, go watch it. This is the first time I've seen the movie theater been actually busy for a not child's movie in a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, 3/4 full would be my guess.
Yeah, that's for the 10.
That's kind of impressive, yeah.
Yeah, for a 10 p.m. show in a town that is not a late night town.
Let's see. Overall impressions. Like a 7 out of 10. It was fun.
Yeah.
If you want to get anything more serious out of it and you're expecting a coherent plot, this is not that movie. If you spend very, very long thinking about sort of issues with the story, it'll probably fall apart. the point of the movie is it's mostly moving from sort of gimmick and joke to gimmick and joke. It's sort of shifting that way.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be a coherent, overarching plot. Like literally, I'll say that for spoiler territory. But the movie overall was fun. It's rated R. It's very dirty. It's full of violence and gore.
Oh yes.
But overall funny and just fun. Like it's been a long time since I've sat like even watching a movie at home and just laughed out loud as opposed to just like, oh, that was funny, and then had no expression on my face. There were scenes that were actually enjoyable and kind of funny. So I enjoyed it. It was a fun movie. Do you have to go see it? No. My expectations is, so just off the top of my head, so that we could get some of that out of the way, it's performing really well. It's looking like its 1 day opening is probably close to 100, and its 3-day weekend is probably going to do something like 2 to 3, depending.
Oh, nice.
Is it going to have legs? I don't know. Being a rated R film and fairly dirty, it's a good chance it's going to drop off after a bit because you got all the adults to go see it, and they're probably not going to drag their kids in. But let's shift to spoiler territory really quickly so people get we've got our impressions. But now to talk about the story in a bit more in depth. So the whole premise of the movie, if you haven't seen 2, at the end of 2, they basically have a credits cutscene. So the premise of 2 is his girlfriend dies and he's messed up about it. At the end of 2, there's a credits cutscene that implies he steals Cable's time travel thing and just fixes a timeline and she's alive and he does a bunch of other silly stuff in time. Almost like a throwaway thing. Well, this whole movie is based around the fact that he screwed up the timeline in what was essentially a credit scene in number 2. They bring out the TVA, the Time Variant Association, whatever they're called. If you're sitting there wondering who the hell are these people, they're from Loki, the awful Marvel show on television from Disney Plus. So if you were a fan of Loki, you're super psyched to see the TVA, I guess, show up in this movie. And so they go on shenanigans. Deadpool gets brought into it. There are a bunch of things in the movie. So the big premise of essentially the theme of this podcast and overall is the expectation was that this movie was going to save Hollywood and it was going to save Marvel movies because they've been a massive decline. And I'm going to tell you right now, this does not save Marvel. For a few reasons. For a movie that spends a lot of time outright crapping on the face of Marvel and Disney, this is not going to save Marvel. It also doesn't set up for new movies. It's just over. It acts as a capstone for Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It acts as a capstone for 20th Century Fox X-Men. It acts as a capstone for sort of previous Marvel superhero stuff that we haven't seen before. The movie flat out just makes fun of Marvel. Like, there's a line in the movie, to give you an idea, where Daredevil has Hugh Jackman Wolverine there. And he turns to me and goes, welcome to the...
Deadpool.
Deadpool. He goes, welcome to the MCU. Too bad you're entering at a low point. Which they flat out say in the movie. At one point, he's talking to the other Deadpools because there's a scene where just a huge amount of Deadpools show up, like Lady Pool and Kid Pool. And
Welsh Pool, Canada Pool, West Pool.
Kid Pool is in there. And he's talking to them, and he's like, the movies haven't been great since Endgame. And it's like, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Deadpool. It's really bad.
Yeah. And can I continue down that? Just a couple more of that thread of references to the issues.
Yeah.
So, getting spoiler tags up, I guess, but like Blade's in the movie, like Wesley Snipes' Blade,
Yes.
and they reference how he is the one and only Blade.
And there
'Cause,
never will
like-
be another one. He literally
Yeah.
says this while there's
Yeah,
a movie, a
practically into
Blade
the
movie
camera.
in production.
Yeah, that is notoriously horribly troubled. They have Gambit in it with
Channing
I
Tatum.
just forgot his name. Channing Tatum playing him, who has been trying to get that to happen for a while and hasn't been, and they reference that even
Yeah.
how like basically how they're like trying to make it work or whatever, but it's and he even talks about like being forgotten. Like Gambit mentions that a couple of times, which
Yeah.
works in the what those specific characters he's talking to, like in as far as the story goes. But really, it's a wink and a nod. I mean, it's just over and over again. They even make reference to the fact that the guy that plays Juggernaut in this is not the same Juggernaut from before. Like it's a different it's meant to be a multiverse joke, but it's also a wink and a nod that like the guy wouldn't come back.
Oh, there are so many real life references. Literally, he turns to Hugh Jackman and he goes, he's wearing a shirt because he let himself go because of the divorce. And it's like, oh, because Hugh Jackman went through a divorce during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's constant.
Jennifer Garner shows
Damn near
up as Elektra.
Electra.
And they're like,
They
oh,
couldn't get Ben
Daredevil.
Affleck.
Well, they go, Daredevil was here, but he died. And then Deadpool turns to her and he goes, oh, I'm sorry. And she goes, oh, it's fine. Freaking, there are so many cameos in this show. It's absurd. They start out with him going through timelines, trying to find a Wolverine to save his timeline. And he runs into a bunch of goofy versions of Wolverine. One of my favorites being comic book accurate Wolverine, where he's like 4 feet tall.
It's the little guy.
Oh, he's cute. He's just a little guy.
Oh, the Cavalrine.
Yeah, Henry Cavill shows up as Wolverine in one of the cutscenes.
Oh my god.
And he calls him Cavalrine. And then he even says to him, you should come with us. We'll treat you better than those other guys did. Like, it is so inside baseball, making fun of everything that's been going on. I can't quite. Like, there's so many inside jokes, I'd have to watch it multiple times to catch them all.
Yeah, because there's a couple about DC. There's a lot about Disney and MCU. Like, even a couple about Fox. Like, there's a lot.
Yes, a commentary about the fact that he literally says it took 20 years for them to put you in the effing costume because Wolverine is in his costume in this movie.
Right, and
The yellow one.
that was one of the things that they pointed. I don't know if they pointed it out, but basically when we had the first X-Men movie, it was kind of one of those inside jokes because he was fiddling around with his costume and Cyclops says something like, what did you expect, yellow spandex?
Yeah. Which in the early thousands was like, yeah, wouldn't that be lame?
Yeah.
But honestly, it looked really good. They even have the mask on him, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I'm not a spandex dork. Like, I don't like superheroes at all, and I thought it looked fantastic.
Good. There are a lot of inside jokes to people who, if you read the comic, you would understand that nobody in the audience is laughing at except for me. And I'm turning to Ross being like, that's a reference. They reference a bunch of classic X-Men comics and stuff. There's the joke store, the Rob Liefeld All Feet store, which if you've read comics, you get the joke because he's bad at drawing feet. There's a lot of depth to the movie. It's a good sort of wink and a nod. To bring up cameos, Chris Evans shows up as the Fantastic Four version of Chris Evans, where he's Johnny Storm.
Johnny Quest or
Johnny
Storm?
Storm.
Yeah.
Yes.
They try and make you think it's Captain America, though.
They do for a second. Firestarter shows up from the original X-Men movies. We get the older Juggernaut. We get Elektra. We get Gambit. Blade. We cannot unemphasize enough that Wesley Snipes showing up at Blade, and they give him a slow walk in where everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, it's Blade!"
Yeah, and some great action scenes. Yeah.
Oh, he was good in it. He got moments in it.
Yeah.
He even had his line.
Honestly.
What was the line, Ross?
Oh.
Friggin' the trying to skate uphill.
Like the one from the movie. Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
motherfuckers are still trying to ice skate uphill.
Yeah. Which was an improv line from the Blade movies anyway. They even referenced the fact that Ryan Reynolds was in a Blade movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even-
What was he in 3?
Yeah, I think it was 3.
It is full of tiny little references, little jokes. It feels like a vehicle to just make jokes. It's a comedy more than anything.
Yeah.
With really gory, excessive action scenes. Like, there is a long, drawn-out fight between him and Wolverine in a Mazda or something?
A Honda Odyssey.
A Honda Odyssey, which they make a point of talking about the Honda Odyssey, and he doesn't like the car for some reason.
Except after he fights in it, then he loves it.
Yes. And the car is just covered in blood. It's funny, the car has a coexist bumper sticker, and it gets sprayed with blood.
But progressively more and more.
Yeah. The movie's a lot of fun. It could do something like $1 billion. It's a big movie. If we are going to... Here, let's move out of spoiler, because sort of one of the bigger points to discuss how this movie is going to affect everything, because the expectation was that this film was going to essentially save Marvel and save everything. And there's a story that come out of The Ringer. The Ringer, I would say, is notoriously not very good at their reporting. And I think the title is right. Deadpool and Wolverine might save the summer, but it's not going to save Marvel. It's not going to save superheroes at all.
No.
Let's read on a little bit. They make some interesting points. It's been a strange summer at the box office heading into June. The tone around the state of moviegoing was bordering on apocalyptic, with the theater chains and major studios rallying around the mantra of just survive till 25 in light of underperforming blockbusters and diminished film slate. Never mind that the main catalyst for the sparse schedule goes back to Hollywood labor strikes. I would add COVID. But when these very studios destroyed all the momentum that the Barbenheimer phenomenon generated. What's even more disheartening is that some of the movies that bombed, including The Fall Guy, Furiosa, were liked by critics. That doesn't say much. And audiences like, I suspect history will be kind to Furiosa in particular, but for now, George Miller's latest masterpiece is emblematic of the industry's box office woes. The good news, in the past month, they've had successes like Inside Out 2, Despicable Me 4, which grossed more than $100 million domestically. To point out, what was that Pixar movie that did well? What, Inside Out 2? To point out the difference between these two, Despicable Me 4 probably cost something like $80 million. Inside Out 2 is looking at like a 200.
Good Lord.
Wow.
So, despite both doing well, I'm going to guess that Despicable Me 4 overall gross is better because it costs less money. But both of those did fairly well. And it looks like Inside Out 2 has just been one of the more dominant ones this year, as far as films. Yeah. Twister was a surprise release, whipping up about $80 million for its opening weekend. And it's a not offensive, and as I quote, if you build a blockbuster with broad appeal packaged around up-and-coming star, people will come. Because it's a decent movie, and you're not insulting them. Shockingly enough. But by any measure, Deadpool and Wolverine will be a major hit. The Merc with a Mouse initiation into Marvel Cinematic Universe is projected to earn upwards of $160 on its opening weekend. I've heard other projections of 2+. So we'll see where that goes. We'll see if it has legs.
Supposedly it's already there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. With so few superhero blockbusters on the docket through 2024, and after a decade plus in in which these projects were reliable moneymakers, Deadpool and Wolverine is perhaps more than any other film the biggest beneficiary of our current content vacuum. As a result, it will probably be a matter of when, not if, Deadpool and Wolverine becomes the highest grossing movie of the year. The studio's intern can't point. Go ahead.
This is one of the reasons why I don't think we are currently suffering from superhero fatigue. We're suffering from terrible movies.
Precisely.
Because they come out with something like this, and everybody flocks to it and says how great it is. That doesn't tell me that it's fatigue. Because if it was fatigue, it wouldn't matter if this was a good movie or not. No one would go see it. But since it's a good movie and people are going to see it, that tells me it's not fatigue. It's that the other movies were garbage.
I would be on the Marvel bandwagon for decades if they kept coming out with good movies. But they're not coming out with good movies. They came out with terrible movies, and this is the result.
And then got mad at us when we didn't go see it.
Precisely. It made fun of us, called us horrible names because we didn't like the stuff they were shoveling towards us. And the funny thing with Deadpool is it doesn't lead or encourage you to go on. It acts like, hey, everything else was bad. Here's a fun ride. This doesn't save the superhero genre at all.
Can I make a point or like step in maybe? That's probably the better way to put that. I'm going to disagree with both of you. I think because you two are not the typical moviegoer. You guys both like comics, so as long as they're good, yeah, of course you'll keep watching them. I think the regular moviegoer is far more fickle. I think they have. I mean, look at me. I mean, I am on the opposite side of this maybe, where I don't like superheroes. Like the reason I went and watched Deadpool is I watched the first one, I liked it, and I knew this wouldn't be stupid blue laser, terrible acting slop that we've been getting at least the last 6-7 years in Marvel, right? I knew it would be something different, and I think that like there's no ill will towards Deadpool, whereas they're trying to create these new characters with actors people don't know or don't care about, and on top of that, I think there will be superhero fatigue. I think we'll see what happens after Deadpool and Wolverine. I think even if they come out, if they even can, that will be the problem, is they won't come out with a good one. They'll just keep shoveling crap. But if they come out with another good movie that's superhero, MCU, whatever, I bet you it won't do well. I think they have burnt their audience out. I think, because I mean, God, weren't they releasing 3 movies in a year at one point?
Yes.
You know, but you can't keep doing that. Like, you're going to train your audience to get bored of it. Like, how many times can you see? And the thing is, all these MCU movies look so alike.
You're not wrong.
You know, monkey brain is not going to handle it for very long. I think, because look, it's used constantly, but it's because it was a huge phenomena that was very trackable. It happened to Westerns. You know, the American Western declined, and then you had the rise of the spaghetti Western briefly until people got tired of the deconstruction, and then that went away. I don't know. We'll see. The problem is you guys are right. They're not going to make a good one anymore. Like that will be a moth bird, so I won't be able to prove my theory. But I would wager. I bet that, because look, even if like. I don't know. The funny thing is, in that article, is they talk about the surprisingly disappointing Furiosa, but like, as much as I love Fury Road, it barely did okay back in 2015.
Yeah, it wasn't a big performer.
Like no, and I love that movie. I genuinely adore that movie. It was not a huge performer. I heard a lot about it because I was in college at the time, and that's a very different crowd. So, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, like I said, it all comes down to the fact they're not going to write good ones anyway, so they're still going to just drive it right into the ground.
With the current Hollywood attitude, they're incapable of producing good stuff. But
it's going to be really hard, because the reality is this Deadpool stuff is a work of love for Ryan Reynolds, and now Ryan Reynolds has enough clout to get these things done. Right. So
see that's what it's gonna take, is to have someone with enough clout to basically write a love letter to the industry kind of thing. And what we have instead are the DIE specialists that are in charge. And, you know, we know where that road leads. I've been surprised that I've heard a number of companies have been axing their DIE teams and departments and stuff because it's just not worth it for them to keep that going. But the thing is that I think that, well, I mean, we're already slated to have some DC EU kind of content coming in from who's it? James Gunn.
Yeah.
I think he's chosen the wrong superhero teams to focus on.
What, the cynical team-up team? Yeah, that's going to go great. People will love that.
The Authority?
The Authority, yeah.
Well,
I just don't expect that.
You can't have a Justice League deconstruction without the example of the Justice League. You can't deconstruct them before they start to exist.
Well, you know what the problem with that is, though? The problem with that is that the bigwigs are going to go, well, but we made a Justice League movie without understanding, like, yeah, but it was a Zack Snyder version, and also you hatchet jobbed it later.
And also it was bad.
Nobody liked it.
Like, yeah, like it was already dark and brooding, and then you tried to like put a different toner in it with what's his face, Joss Whedon, and it looked even worse and felt even worse. So
yeah, I mean that's one of the problems that you have here with superhero movies. It's fine to have a gritty Batman. The Batman should be gritty. But when you have a gritty Superman, that's not Superman.
And we're now talking
they call
about
him the big blue Boy Scout for a reason.
Well, right. But we're now talking about the expectations when it comes to the superheroes, which means something different from hardcore fans as opposed to normies. Because a lot of normies don't have the same perspective that we might. We do have a lot of news. Go ahead.
I just want to say, I still feel that if they do a good job on a movie, that they'll get both the diehard comic book fans and the normies, if you will, to come see it, because it's all about entertainment. And if they make it make an entertaining movie, then I think that they'll go forward with that.
One would hope.
At the same time, yeah.
There is a bunch of Hollywood-related news in the news dump. But before we get there, Chance has drunkenly stumbled into the podcast and says, I seem to have stumbled into the Kamala Harris fan club, apparently. Abandoning the what is it? Abandoning the past and looking towards the future. What's the stupid phrase, Ross?
Oh, God. Like, I know. It doesn't make sense when she says it. How can it retain?
All I'm going to say is I'm with her. And Ross's Chance's second comment. The Snyder Cut was good. I enjoyed it, but you have bad taste, Chance. That's the problem.
we all know that.
You're an incompetent buffoon.
Yeah, the
has
Snyder Cut
taste.
of the new sci-fi duo he made for Netflix was really good too. Oh no, it's all terrible. Turns out.
I remember having the discussion about Batman versus Superman with Chance and how much Chance loved it, and I was like, what'd you think about the biblical references where it basically he had the spear of Longinus to take out like Superman Jesus in the movie?
Oh, wait, what?
Oh, it's in there.
Oh yeah.
Chance goes on to say, I still want a Kingdom Come live action movie, one of the best comic book stories in DC history. I would agree that it's one of the best. Problem with Kingdom Come is you have to have an older Superman, and we don't have an older Superman. So we have heard from James Gunn that it seems like he wants to mimic sort of the Kingdom Come story, but Kingdom Come works when he's an aged Superman, so I don't know what he's going to do. It makes no sense. But we have a lot of stuff to get through. News dump, lots of trailers, Comic-Con going up, so we're going to throw this in.
The Distracted Gamer Podcast. Big steaming pile of news dump.
That little jingle will haunt Chance for the rest of his life.
Till the end of his days.
Assuming this podcast lasts that long.
No.
Oh.
We're like roaches.
Hey everybody, the Lord of the
Maybe it
Rings
will.
Rings of Power Season 2 trailer is out.
Oh.
It
Look at
is
that
a
costume jewelry. I
shocking-
mean, sorry, beautiful elven rings.
It is a
Sorry, you get the dentist.
shocking 3 minutes and 51 seconds. This is a beefy trailer. There's just
Gotta
a
get
lot.
those San Diego Comic-Con cheers.
Any quick impressions of the nonsense we've got going on here?
They've tried to polish a turd.
Hey, this would have been
I
a
feel
great
like they
story to
put a lot
tell.
more
Too
money.
bad they fucked it up with the first season. Anyway, sorry.
Sorry,
I feel
Silver.
like they poured a lot more money into this.
It looks more.
I don't know. Something about it feels more expensive.
It does.
More of that Bezos.
Got that Daddy Bezos dollars, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That blank check of Bezos.
Can I put forth perhaps a controversial opinion?
No. I'll go ahead.
You insist.
I have a feeling this will be better than season 1.
I actually think it will be too.
Yeah. I
Yeah, I
hate
have
to
that
see Tom
impression.
Bombadil, but everything else that they mostly, I mean, there's still really stupid stuff in it, but everything they kind of teased at, I'm like, oh, okay. Sure.
Season 1
I don't know if
was
that's just
mostly-
because season 1 broke me.
Well,
but,
season 1 is mostly
know.
incompetent.
Oh my god. Horribly.
Let's see. John Hamm would kill it at Kingdom Come Superman. He would. John Hamm would fit into that role, and
Yeah.
then he goes on to say, "It's gonna suck because it's Tolkien. How dare you, sir? How dare you?"
Oh.
Oh, I'm
gonna
sorry.
suck
The
because
father
it's
of all
Amazon.
fantasy, offends you.
I'm sorry that the creator of all that is nerddom offends you, and your infinite lack of capacity
Bad taste?
to appreciate good things. Chance has always had a problem with that. It's like somebody hit him in the head as a child, and his prefrontal cortex stopped functioning in a rational way.
They probably
Listen.
hit him with the Lord of the Rings.
As someone who loves the Robert E. Howard kind of fantasy, that was. I'm really glad we have Tolkien because it kind of elevated it.
I,
'Cause, Robert E. Howard's great, but
yeah. Well, we could have been
He's the one that
old
did
school
the-
hack and slash with Conan sort of thing.
oh, I love Conan. I love Solomon Kane.
Elevated
That's
to a
what I
different
was
sort
thinking
of form. But yeah, Rings of Power Season 2 screaming into your televisions soon. Another
Roger.
big reveal this weekend is freaking Yakuza, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, I am excited.
It looks awesome. It's Amazon. Hopefully they don't ruin it like they ruin many things, but it looks really good.
Well,
Was it just me that was like, oh, that CGI blood in the beginning is kind of bad?
It's fine. It must be good. It cannot hurt Yakuza. Shut up. I need it to be good.
I mean, I know nothing about Yakuza.
The tattooing scenes were weird.
Ross is self.
Yeah, it was just the blood in that
Well,
threw me off. I'm
symbolically,
like,
the
that
Yakuza
looks
are.
like Fruit Punch.
Look, the Yakuza are wrapped up in the tattoo culture in Japan. Starting out with the tattoo symbolizes these are the ne'er-do-wells.
Yep.
Calm
There's something
yourselves.
severely wrong with that man's blood.
Something wrong
Listen,
with your blood.
Maybe he replaced it with Gusher's insides, all right, but it's fine. Gusher juice works just fine as blood. We know this now.
Well, and gushers are delicious. So
That-
what's your problem,
absolutely.
Silver? Do you hate gushers? Are you a communist?
It will be a treat for
No,
any Japanese vampire.
Because that is a mark of a communist right there.
Yes, it is.
No, I love gushers. I'm just questioning why it's in that man's blood.
Well, because he's got delicious Japanese blood. What are you talking about?
Chance, you're still watching The Boys? Why?
Chance said, speaking of Amazon, now I have to wait 2 freaking years for The Boys season 5, and I'm salty about it. The Boys is one of the biggest abortions in filmmaking I've ever seen. What on earth are you talking about, sir? You're salty that you have to wait for more male grape scenes? You're salty that chances. Oh.
I'm pretty sure my father watches The Boys.
Yeah, well, your father has
Why?
also been hit in the head. What?
How dare you?
We love Papa Kaiju, but his
We
taste
do.
is horrendously questionable.
Horrendously questionable.
Yeah.
He's taking you
Um,
to some real crap, man. I mean, like, real bad.
I couldn't even make it through the first episode.
I thought season 1 was kind of it was all right / it was okay to good. Season 2 I bailed on because it was just terrible. And then after that it's been an abortion of epic
Downward spiral ever
proportions.
since.
Yes. But anything that's terrible that offends the original content and the creators that made it, Chance will flock to it like flies on a piece of turd.
To be fair, I have never heard anything good about the comic either.
Chance says, I was reading The Boys
Everybody
when it
thought it
first
was
came
good
out,
because it got a show.
so I have a long-standing love for the property. Well, look, not getting into a massive Boys discussion, let's set this aside for the minute because it seems like Chance completely erased everything from his brain having read the comics. To clarify, the comics are about the military-industrial complex. That's essentially what it's about. The creator has said as much. The people who were initially part of it said as much. The show that the creator is making on Amazon, the Boys TV show, the guy that's making it flat out said it's a commentary on MAGA. That he's talking about Trump America.
Oh.
That's what he's talking about. He said it in interviews. He said it straight up. And the fact that you don't have the capacity to realize that the creator of the Amazon show is crapping on what the original intention was, I don't know what to do for you. I don't know what to do for you. You may have read the comics, but it seems like you really didn't understand it. Is your reading comprehension that of a 5-year-old?
I just want to point out that for anyone who's a new listener, Rhett and Chance have known each other for a long time. This is
Hold on, I have to
this isn't some
confuse
insane this is some insane creator losing his mind on a random viewer.
I have a love for Chance, for somebody I've never met in person and lives in the horrible South. He invited me and Chase into his wedding for Pete's sake. But his taste is terrible.
We sent him a wedding present.
We did send him a wedding present.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got horrible opinions and should feel bad about them. Have you considered seppuku, good sir?
Oh, we could do the Harakiri version of it. I wouldn't do that to you, though, Chance. I like you too much.
Chance says he comes here for the abuse. Well, we've got plenty to spare.
That's all this,
you know,
that's all
Rat.
this place is.
To move on, because we've been lingering on this trailer for way too long, Joker Season 2 Movie 2 trailer comes out. The only 2 people here that are going to care about Joker 2 are me and Ross. Ross?
Yeah.
I you know what? I'm excited for it. I think it'll be at the very least interesting, even if it ends up not being good, but it's something very different, and why not? I mean, we're in the deconstruction period. At least it's not embarrassing deconstruction. At least it's going something completely out of left field.
I was really sour on a Joker 2 because I quite like Joker 1. I am less sour because of this trailer, but not entirely unsoured because I hate, and I cannot emphasize this enough, I hate Harley Quinn. I think she needs to be thrown into a wood chipper, and everybody be forced who loves Harley Quinn to stand there and watch as her corpse flies out the exit. All right?
Oh, you're not excited for even more Harley Quinn Halloween costumes?
Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah,
Ugh.
but you know what? It'll just be a woman in her pajamas with clown makeup on.
Little stars, or
It's
what
true, it's
diamonds
not-
on
Less
her
in her
outfit.
Because
pajamas.
this one is a not sexy one.
Harley
It's a mentally
Quinn
ill woman.
has ruined a generation of people, and the way they're presenting Harley Quinn doesn't help me. I think it's a bad representation of Harley Quinn in the show, by the way. So
Well, she was a psychiatrist originally. that was
setting
corrupted by the Joker.
aside, see, once again, we're in this argument of they're not representing the character accurately. I understand that. Setting aside the fact that she's not represented the way she is in the comics, because in the comics she was a psychiatrist, blah, blah, blah. That's not my issue with her representation in the show. My issue with her representation is they're presenting her as if she is an equal to the Joker, that she is half of him, when that's not who her character is. She is an
No, definitely
obsessive girl follower that the Joker doesn't give a shit about. That's who Harley Quinn is. And they're representing her like she is half that he is missing. She literally is getting the same images from the original Joker movie, getting into the elevator, doing the stupid dance on the staircase, having the makeup moment where she rubs her face across her lips. They're presenting her like she's an equal, on par character to the Joker when she wouldn't exist if he doesn't exist. She is a follower. She is an obsessive fan. She is not on par with the Joker character, and she sucks. That's my problem. Not because she's misrepresented. I get it. This show takes place in a different, rendition of the Joker and the characters and that sort of thing. We can get obsessive about how they're not representing the characters the way they should be compared to the comics. But if we do that, we're going to find perpetual flaws in every movie that we've ever watched. My point is they're presenting her like she's way more important than she should be. Chance weighs in and says...
I just wanted to...
Go ahead, Jason.
Go for it.
Well, Chance says you can't go to a con without seeing 40 Harleys. Yeah, which is why we should all put them on a ship of some sort and perhaps sink it and get rid of the problem altogether. Harley Quinn has ruined girls and conventions for decades now. Jason?
Yeah. I just wanted to point out the fact that it was her, I think this was kind of in line with what you were saying, but without the Joker, there would be no Harley, because regardless of whether the fact this is a different universe or because obviously this is a different universe with the Joker movies and stuff, I feel that by, like you said, by them elevating her to Joker's status, that kind of one, it diminishes the Joker, but two, Joker is such that he actually corrupts people. It doesn't matter to me if Harley is a psychologist or whatever else. The fact that she is not originally a good, sane person, and her interacting with the Joker is what drives her over the edge. That's kind of where I was going with that. It's because of the Joker was that catalyst that dragged her along, and she's always been in his shadow after that.
Anyway, we've got way too much news and the dump is too big. Really quickly, Alien Romulus.
Oh, thank God. Another Alien prequel.
The biggest joke about the show is it feels like Gen Z in space.
They're all so beautiful and so pretty.
They all look like they're 19 years
die
old.
Horribly.
Yeah,
I heard a comment where somebody was
young.
like, "Who's in charge of this ship?" They're all children.
Well, it kind of implies that they're criminals. They're sneaking onto this ship, and it's just what? I don't know. That's fine, I guess, but it is funny that they're really not an Uggo in the bunch, huh? All right.
Yeah. Bunch of hot kids.
They were just getting on that ship for the lights.
Yes.
Anyway, let's move on. Beetlejuice.
Mixed feelings.
I was
I'm not-
negative, and then
I'm
I
really
went,
not sure.
you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'm willing to go along with this nonsense.
That's
very
I was
hopeful for it.
I'm still up in the air because when they announced that they were bringing Beetlejuice back, I was like, really? Okay. And then I saw this, and I'm still not sure on it. I'm definitely not sold on it yet.
Well, nobody else said anything, Mel. We're going to scream on. I'm going to throw... I don't think anyone's seen it. I'm going to throw up the
Has
Gundam...
Jordan even seen the original?
I don't know.
Original what,
Beetlejuice?
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I have.
It's great. Anyway, I'm going to throw up the Gundam
It's almost
show.
movie.
Apparently,
They've got a Gundam show going to Netflix. It looks fun. I like it. It looks good.
Awesome.
Yeah, looks fine.
Perfectly fine.
Not upset at all.
Nope, not angry. Shifting through some things, we've got stupid amounts of news. So in relation to Hollywood going on right in a moment, it looks like the Voice Actors Guild is going to go on strike.
Oh, that'll go well.
They can all
Apparently,
burn.
most of their issues seem to stem from AI and them trying to protect, I guess, their industry. I doubt it's going to be a good... I doubt it's going to help them much.
No, it's
Well,
not.
and you know what's funny is I don't even disagree with them. But
No.
what do they think is going to happen when they go on strike? They're
That
just going to
means
use AI.
yeah.
Like I don't. I the timing seems real bad, is what I'm saying. They should have done this before AI was good, or at least decent enough to do that. And I maybe it isn't yet, but I don't
In
know.
a
I think it'll
shaky
just drive it
industry, strikes seem to be a poor idea.
further.
Disneyland barely avoids going on its first strike in 40 years. They might have a tentative
burn
deal,
too.
but they nearly shut down Disneyland. So,
Oh no!
yeah.
What was it over? Do we know? I mean, do you know
Overpriced
off the top of your
magical
head?
place, most magical place on Earth. Oh, that's so awful.
I read it. I don't recall off the top of my head what it was over.
Okay.
Probably
I know we got a lot to go
wages.
through, so just keep going.
Yeah, we just
Sorry.
have stupid amounts to
That's
go
my
through. Blizzard goes on strike. Blizzard forms a union, actually. I'm not going to open
Hey,
it
if
'cause I
any
might
industry
give them
needs it.
money. The gaming industry might actually need unions, at least for now, to fix a
Yeah,
lot
they
of the
do.
shenanigans going on.
Yeah, and Blizzard
Some
is
of
a
that
company
crunch time
themselves.
stuff and
With a bunch of the early Comic-Con reveals, it looks like we're getting another Dexter series.
Oh, wait, no, I don't care. Of all the shows that needed another one, did we really need that? I mean, I
No.
know people liked it, but
Well,
I
they did
never
that
got
limited.
behind the concept.
They did the limited series that seemed to have gotten enough traction to get people to do another show. So, let's go down some of the reveals during Comic-Con. We got a season 2 trailer. Blah blah blah. Creature Commandos gets a trailer. It's an animated movie. I don't think anyone's going to give a fart about Creature Commandos.
oh,
Let's say some DLC for Mortal Kombat nobody cares about. They teased the new generation going forward is we're going to get a Fantastic Four with Marvel, and then they're going to go Galactus. And apparently there's been a lot of teasing that. They're going to... How many
It's
times have they
Galactus.
tried Fantastic Four? What are we
what are we
at?
at?
Like,
3? Third?
well, if you count some of
there's
the
at
old
least
ones...
4.
Oh yeah, I forget the '90s one. That was
Yeah.
great.
Apparently
I
they're
think
adding
there was-
Monty Python to Magic the Gathering.
Oh, I can't wait for them to make that lame.
Oh my
Yakuza
gosh, it's so
trailer.
dumb.
After the
Yay.
abysmal failure of Doctor Who, they're getting a spin-off.
That's what it
No.
needed.
Because that's what we need.
A lot
You're
of
right.
toy
We needed another
reveals.
one that won't sell.
Netflix Bioshock film is still in the works, apparently, but is being reconfigured. I wonder if
A
they
great sign.
second
Yeah,
guessed
that's a
some of the-
good. Yeah. That's a
Gundam
good,
Requiem looks fun. Mark Hamill's in the SpongeBob movie coming. And
Ugh.
apparently they're winding down the High Republic era. No one's reading that comic. It's shitty.
Yeah, I've not heard anything spectacular about it.
Anyway, putting that away. Moving on to the next thing. Apparently we can't get away from the Acolyte, but apparently the report is that the there is no official intention to make a season 2. That's the best we've got at the moment.
Oh, thank goodness.
So
We'll
yes.
see. I can't if they're not announcing it now, they're not going to do it.
Leslie Headland's trying to get a bunch of groundswell support, something with like trying to get a petition going or something. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, no.
Apparently, we are going to feature a Sauron Galadriel romance, an LGBTQ character
What?
in Rings of Power Season 2.
My gosh. They've already
Oh.
teased that Galadriel's husband is coming back in season 2.
Love triangle.
And
Yeah, the
Oh,
ladies
my
love him.
gosh. It turned to a teen drama.
Val, as a resident female kaiju cat monster, you love that,
Uh-huh.
right?
Oh, totally. Can't get
Mhm.
enough of it.
I figured you were a big love triangle fan.
Twilight. Know completely ins and outs of Twilight.
So I
You
mean
know,
that.
Edward Culinary. Yeah, I know that.
Oh, you love the culinary man. I mean,
That's his
that leads me
name,
to
right?
believe that. Yes, that is his name. That leads me to believe that whoever her husband's going to be is going to be a very hot young actor. He's going to be either rugged or have one hell of a jawline, so women will really care. Because look, Morford Clark is a very good-looking woman.
She's got
very
perpetual
attractive.
stink face, but yes.
Oh, well, hopefully they can direct that right out of her. But
Yeah.
It's CGI that out.
Well, let's move on. Remember the
we'll
Eternals
fix it
that
in post.
lost tens of millions of movies? Well, they've kept it up in the air as to whether or not we're going to get a sequel, and apparently they're now like, yeah, we're not going to do a sequel.
wait, I hate to be stupid because I don't pay attention. When did Eternals come out? And they just now are saying they're not going to do another?
Yeah.
it's been several years.
Well, yeah, no kidding. They're not doing another one. They would have. What? Oh my god.
We would have
All
seen
right.
trailers.
One would assume.
All right, I'm going to address two big controversies to come out recently. They're not on the docket because, like, I don't care about the personal drama going on. But everybody's been talking about, they've been big news. There have been channels have been doing big conversations about this drama. So I'm going to address it temporarily and we're going to move on. I don't give a crap about Mr. Beast. I've never watched his content. To be honest, I was barely aware he existed, despite the fact him being a massive channel. Apparently, one of his core members who were there from the beginning has gone trans from male to female. Well, this individual...
I heard about this.
Well, all of this drama around this individual doing this, especially when this individual is married and has children. Well, setting that drama aside, I don't want to get into his personal life or stuff going on with him. I don't care. It's his drama. I'm not obsessed with other people's personal drama. What is being brought into this, which is something that everybody's been talking about, is apparently there's now evidence, text messages, messaging, various stuff, where basically it seems like he was doing some grooming with underage individuals, which has caused a huge snafu, people demanding like comments from Mr. Beast. Is he going to say something? What's going on? Yada, yada, yada. Well, finally, we've gotten a comment from Mr. Beast, and he's like, this doesn't look good. I'm letting the person go. I don't care, once again, about personal drama from other channels. I'm bringing this up because Mr. Beast is a big channel. It's a big part of YouTube, a part of pop culture, and this has happened. I can't weigh in on the individual things that are going on with this individual and the accusations, but because clearly no trial has happened, nobody has been charged with anything, so I'm not going to make comments about things I have no information on, especially when it's not verified. Does it look good? No. Should he be let go? Absolutely, depending on the information. Is that all we have to say about this? Does anyone really want to add any more information?
No.
No, you pretty much covered what I'd say.
Sweet. The other piece of information, I don't give a shit about Boogie2988. The only reason why I know anything about him is because of this stupid drama, because he's a massive psychopath who panders to people.
Emphasis on massive.
Yes. Who panders to people, constantly is seeking pity and attention. Why am I bringing it up? Well, 2 reasons. One, he claimed he had cancer, which proved to be false, which is something he pandered to the internet community. And 2, he came out with this thing where he got paid a bunch of money to pander to some sort of like shitcoin whatever, to get his followers to jump on, and then the coin crashed and they all lost money.
Ooh, ouch.
So
what a guy.
Coming from somebody who makes YouTube videos, who has no like internet presence whatsoever, nobody watches it. Don't trust random YouTube influencer commentary. Do your own stuff. Don't believe some random giant fat man on the internet that he has good advice for your financial future. And that's the drama around Boogie summed up. Ross, is it like pretty much got it?
That's pretty much it.
All right, let's move on before we drag out the stupid internet drama. Oh, guess what? The other gigantic internet drama. Remember Yasuke and the stuff going on in Ubisoft? Assassin's Creed Shadows. Well, Ubisoft released a response to all of the drama. And you might go, oh, the internet bullied them into response. No. This response is specifically because of the negative reception from Japan. Not from the internet at large, because they could just go, Western white men are racist. No, Japan doesn't like it, and it's a lot harder to accuse racism of a bunch of people who are lower down the intersectional hierarchy, so to speak. I'm not going to go over the details. I'm not going to go over the details of the Assassin's Creed Shadows response. It's not a good response. They claim they did their historical research. They did not. Just to reference one of the main historical researchers that they used to structure this game when it comes to evidence about Yasuke and a bunch of other things. Ross will be fascinated about this. So that guy, in order to justify his historical research and claim that the research he put into this game is legitimate, if you look into his stuff, he quotes, which you should if you're doing good research, quote other research. People tracked it down, and he's quoting himself.
Oh my God!
In his research, to give you clarification about how good their researchers are at Ubisoft. This is not ended. People are still pissed off. Go ahead, Ross.
Well, I mean, and both Val and Jason know this because Jason is far more educated than us, and Val, Rhett, and myself have gone to college. Rhett and I have a degree as well. It's for anyone who doesn't know, you can't quote yourself in your own research. That's very bad taste and not accepted. And even if you are using information that you had in, let's say, a previous thing you publicized, you would use the sources you used in that publication, not yourself.
Right. By the way, he cites himself in a Wikipedia article.
Oh my God! Oh no!
This person's great.
So just like in the world of history, historical research and history, that is
any research.
I'm going to be any research, but I mean this is Rhett and I. That's what we studied. Rhett more so than myself. That is such a faux pas. I will be shocked if there isn't professional ramifications for that, and educational ones too, like from his institution that he got this from. That's really bad.
Well, his reputation is very damaged. Not to dwell too long on this, but one of the Verge reporters, Ash Parrish, is apparently accusing the Japanese society of being violently racist because of the backlash to Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Quote unquote, violently racist because the Japanese won't just have stuff that's inaccurate about their own culture shoved down their throats. And she got really upset about the change.org petition that has 97,000 follower signatures trying to get rid of this game because it insults Japanese culture. Don't you think that culture deserves to weigh in on the accurate representation of its own culture? Perhaps I am going...
Dare they?
Yeah, especially if you're
Dare
trying
they
to
be
shove it down her throats for
concerned with
real.
anything like that.
Perhaps I'm going too far. By the way, Kotaku senior editor Alyssa Mercante plays dumb when Mark Kern calls her out for describing Japanese people as racist and calling when talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows. So apparently the new strategy among people that are defenders of Assassin's Creed Shadows is to attack Japan for being racist. Talking about the petition with 97,000-ish petition signatures.
Well, and like first of all, like, don't defend corporate slop. Don't defend the corporation. Don't do that. Don't
the
ever
billion-dollar
do that.
corporation.
That's
they
embarrassing.
Don't
Yeah, they don't need your help. They can, like, are you getting money from it? Then don't bother. Number one. And number two, like, it's funny because Brett, Jason, you remember years ago we did you, me, and I, mostly you two, did a podcast that I was a part of, that episode where we talked about Kingdom Come Deliverance. Do you remember that at all?
Yeah.
I remember talking about the backlash they got then for not having a more diverse Bohemia.
Oh, yes. Now I remember, yes.
Despite the fact it is a not very big part of Bohemia.
Right, and it wouldn't have been diverse at that point in history.
Which is hilarious, by the way, considering there are Cumans, there are Germans, there are Czechs. Like, it's diverse.
White guys.
For that area, that's really diverse.
It's crazy diverse. That was the problem with the Holy Roman Empire, in fact. But it's not the kind of diversity they want. They being people in the media. And so it's just funny that now we're seeing this again.
Yep.
And now it is being wielded against the Japanese as a whole, kind of. It's miraculous. It's genuinely amazing.
It's one of those things where, at this point in history, if you went to Japan, it would be a miracle if you ran into Yasuke.
Well, he would be far higher. He'd be in a place that you wouldn't be able to get to unless you were nobility.
Well, right, but I mean, let's say you're just wandering around the countryside. You wouldn't run into the diversity, that they're wanting in these games. You wouldn't run into a black guy in Japan at this point in time. It's such a bizarre, odd occurrence that people would remember that kind of thing.
Just to contextualize Japan's history at this time, Japan was shut off from foreign influence. You couldn't go there without permission. At best, you may, in certain ports that were allowed by the shogun, you may find some Portuguese priests. That's the best you could do when it came to diversity.
Or later some Dutch.
Later some Dutch. Anyway, we don't need to drag this out too long. Next story. So, just really quick, Gina Carano is suing Disney for wrongful termination based upon her own political views. She has had a victory when it comes to this because Disney tried to have the case thrown out and they lost that, so it is going to trial.
Which is awesome.
Why is this a big deal? Well, to people who are not fans of Disney, the one thing that might actually help quite a bit is this is going to have Discovery, so we might learn some interesting behind-the-scenes bigotry going on at Disney.
I love corporate juiciness.
Shifting on really quickly, I brought this up with Ross earlier this week, but Ubisoft apparently has invested the most money it's ever invested in marketing in Star Wars Outlaws, and behind the scenes, executives are saying that this is going to be one of the biggest game of the year. I can tell you right now, the hype around it is not positive.
Yeah, I was going to say. The biggest failure, perhaps.
Yeah. I mean, it could come out and we could all fall in love with it.
Jason, they revealed a gameplay trailer and it looks terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
If they're very
But
lucky, it'll come
weirder
out.
things have happened.
It'll be mediocre.
Yeah.
That'll be their best case. It's not gonna. It may be. I mean, I've been wrong, but it's not gonna do well.
All right, let's shift
So
on.
this
Jason.
particular article, we get 2 new elves in season 2 of Lord of the Rings. This one here, for some reason they're making a big deal about this guy who's an elven map maker. Apparently, Sauron is going to attack the elves and attack Celebrimbor. And Gil-galad is going to tell Elrond to take a force and go, and he's going to have to ride a long way. We all know what that means. It means that he'll take a hop and skip, and then he'll be there. So why they need a map maker, I don't know. The other elf that they're adding is an Oriental elf.
Oh, diversity.
Yeah, she is.
They're adding an Asian lady.
Yeah, Selena Lowe or something like that, and she's going to be the first Asian elf.
It's always about the first.
color.
It's always about the first something because that matters a lot to the heavily racist, politically minded, intersectional crowd, and it's dumb. We've got to shift on.
I hope
Jason.
her Amazon bucks spend great.
We're also going to be introducing this guy. I don't even know how to say his first name. Kieran. I thought it might have been, but anyway, he's going to be playing another wizard. So they're actually going to be introducing another wizard in season 2. Let's hope they don't eat him from heaven. Let's hope they learn that with
he hits his head
the
and
first wizard.
lacks the capacity to remember anything.
He's going to be Tom Bombadil.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a theory about the map maker.
Yeah. There's a couple things in here about Borderlands that I threw in because the movie's coming out. Randy Pitchford apparently came out and addressed how much Borderlands is going to be, or how much the movie is going to adhere to the game narrative, and it's pretty much it's not. He's like, this is going to exist in parallel, and it's like we already kind of got that from the fact that you cast Kevin Hart. I have nothing against Kevin Hart, but they cast Kevin Hart as Roland.
Randy, you greasy fuck.
And they cast Jamie Lee Curtis as Tannis. I don't know what they were what he thought he needed to come out and explain to us here. There's actually a couple articles in here that are kind of weird because they take 2 different stances on the same thing. So Borderlands, this guy is praying that Borderlands flops, that the movie flops, because he's saying that with video game movies, they should be episodic. They should be television series, not movies. And so he's praying that the Borderlands. This guy is praying that the Borderlands movie flops because then he's hoping that more movies that are more adaptations that try to adapt video games to the screen will go small screen rather than big screen because it will give them more time to.
I don't think video games require episodal format. I don't agree with that at all.
I don't know that they really require adaptation at all, personally, but I threw this one in here because I wanted to get your guys' take on the new costume that they're giving Robin.
Ew.
To me, it looks, yeah. The article is like, oh, this is the greatest Robin costume that we've ever seen. It's the costume that Robin should have had when he was first drawn.
This looks like year one.
This is horrible.
Batman.
Why does he look like a bird?
Because he's a Robin, Ross.
It's like
do Robins
Batman
and
Dark
bats hang
Ages
out?
or something like that.
Yeah, they're famous best friends.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
All right.
Spawn. We're getting a new Spawn movie.
I bet.
The tentative title right now is King Spawn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Presumably
I don't know
Hell?
how.
I hope we get a Michael J. White cameo.
That'd be nice.
Michael J. White
I don't know how this is gonna.
awesome, by the way.
Mhm.
He is. I don't know how this is going to work for a Spawn movie because Spawn is even more niche as far as comic books go than like Marvel or DC.
Very niche.
What do you mean? They had a hilarious '90s movie and a weird HBO TV series. Surely that won't go wrong.
The animated one?
Yeah. Animated one was okay.
That was the best rendition of Spawn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Leslie Headland is now seeking to justify her inclusion of Yoda in the Acolyte.
There's a lot of cope going on.
Apparently in the Clone Wars, Yoda hid the fact that the clone army was being created. He hid that from the Republic, and so she's using that as justification as to Yoda knew about the Sith returning, but just didn't tell anybody.
Well, see,
Can I
here's
just
the
say
problem.
the timing of using Dave Filoni as a shield is really bad.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. So they hid the Sith returning. That doesn't explain why in a secret meeting with the highest up Jedi in the Jedi Council, they talk about the Sith like this never happened. So they're lying to other important people with information that could be vital to the success of the Jedi when dealing with the Sith. So this justification makes no sense, and Leslie Headland is a hack. Let's move on.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
Click the one and then just say reject all. So it's
I'm
not
gonna set this up
Microsoft's
right
fault for the worst IT outage in
Technically,
history.
no, it's not.
It's the European Union's fault.
Oh,
Well, as are most things.
is
so
it because
apparently
they
in
require
2009
CrowdStrike? Is that why?
In a way, yes. So because of the rules that the European Union required to like not consider Microsoft a monopoly, Microsoft had to cede some of the control over the operating system to other companies to run that kind of stuff. And Microsoft is claiming that if the EU hadn't required this of them to allow other software and whatnot to control the main core of the Windows operating system, this never would have happened.
Sweet.
And they're not wrong to a certain extent. Just because Microsoft had to cede this control doesn't mean that Microsoft couldn't have accidentally caused this particular outage on accident themselves. It's just that because of this particular ruling from the EU where they said you have to do it our way, and Microsoft was like, okay, and then CloudStrike basically took everything down. You know, whatever.
This was a CloudStrike fumble.
I love that they're passing the buck. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Leslie Headland, apparently she really had to push to get Yoda into the story. They weren't going to let her have Yoda, but she was like, this is my show and you're going to do it my way. And so they let her have Yoda, and now we have a whole bunch of crap to deal with Yoda.
Well, it
and
sucks.
The Acolyte. Yeah.
All right. Next.
If you want anything from the Xbox 360 store, you have to get it by Monday.
Yep. I know Xbox made a list. So to clarify, the Xbox 360 store, so the store attached to the Xbox 360 is going away. What does that mean? Well, it means you won't be able to buy or access the store to purchase things on the 360. Why is this a big deal? Because there are certain games that are 360 exclusive that are not backwards compatible. So if you don't buy them now, you will never be able to access them again on any of the other consoles, Xbox One or Xbox Series X or whatever. And there is a list online you can find where people made a list of all of the non-backwards compatible 360 games that are on the store, that if you want them, get them now. The sales have been really crappy too.
Yeah, just terrible.
Let's see. What have we got? Sorry, there's a lot of clicking I gotta get to. Anyway.
So Crashers is getting DLC.
Wonderful.
What is it? New characters or
Rhett
mission
and I
or
played
what?
the crap out of this. It's gonna be like a character creator, so you can create your own characters in
Oh,
Castle
that would
Crashers.
fit with the game.
Yeah.
That works.
Right now, it's only on Steam. Hopefully, it'll come to the consoles, but
We already did a bit of a San Diego Comic-Con. Anything we miss?
well, this is mostly the panel for Marvel. What do they call it? It was the Marvel's next big thing, and this really focuses less on like Marvel MCU stuff and more on
The comic stuff.
the comics that they're putting out. So we've got things like Wolverine Revenge, Venom War, Dogpool apparently is getting I think it's a one shot.
Dogpool was a big
one shot
part of
for
the movie.
Dogpool.
Yes, it was.
The 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. This one actually might be interesting.
I don't
So
know.
apparently-
I don't trust Marvel yet with the darned thing.
Right.
It's
And
gonna have
that's
to
why
come
I'm like,
out
it
and then
might-
have constant reviews from people I trust for at least 6 months after the series is over before I consider purchasing anything.
So Doctor Doom is now the Sorcerer Supreme. I don't know why they decided on that, but they did. And apparently, when Doctor Strange was the Sorcerer Supreme, he had to fight off an invasion once a year. And it always took a lot of power and blah, blah, blah. Well, Doctor Doom is like, I'm not bothering with that. That's something that somebody else can take a whack at. So he's actually charging Spider-Man with that responsibility. So he is giving Spider-Man 8 extra lives, and he is giving him like powered magic powered armor and crap to do there. They're rehabilitating Ultron. Apparently they've got the West Coast Avengers, and Ultron is now on the West Coast Avengers.
No. Rehabilitating implies they're being successful at it, and they're not. They're dragging the corpse of Ultron out. Here's one thing that I'm gonna hold on. So, in reference to stuff that happened in the Deadpool Wolverine movie, if you remember, the reason why Hugh Jackman ended it is because they had Logan, and Logan ended on an emotional note. It was a finality to Wolverine's story. In the beginning of Deadpool, Deadpool literally says, "I would hate to tread on the grave of Wolverine," and then he proceeds to dig his dying corpse out of the grave and use it to kill people. So they make a point of fact to reference the fact that, hey, this great movie came out and it's all over and Wolverine's dead. Now I'm going to dig up his corpse. Anyway, Time Bandits, it looks like it's going to suck.
Yeah, so the Time Bandits apparently on that one, the kid and Lisa Kudrow that are in it are they say that they're both doing really well with what they've got. They've got a pretty good ensemble cast and stuff. And this is where I said that the Borderlands being a flop actually ties in with something else later. This was the later article, because this article argues that Time Bandits just didn't have enough to justify it being a TV series, and it should have been a movie. But anyway, But I do have one more thing. The parents of the actor of the kid,
Uh-huh.
and I mean the actor himself. The parents should have been slapped because his name is Kal-El.
Ew.
Yeah,
Oh God.
yeah. Borderlands. This is the second Borderlands one. No, this is like the third. Anyway, apparently we're going to get a new announcement about Borderlands, and we're going to be very, very happy with the next video game. That's according to Randy Pitchford.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
believe you,
if there's
Randy
anyone you should
Pitchford.
trust, it's greasy Randy Pitchford.
Well, the funny thing is he's talking about how we're not going to have to wait long for an announcement, and I'm like, but then the article goes in and says that the last Borderlands game was released in 2019. I'm like, so
You
But
had to
something
wait a
so
we're just
while.
waving
COVID.
all that away.
Something.
Ross is a big Borderlands fan, if you can't tell.
Yeah.
Oh, and a big Randy Pitchford fan too. Love him. I love that weird greasy asshole.
Well, everybody, it's been a swell time hanging out with you. There's been a stupid amount of news, and we tried to just scream through it in an
We
irresponsible
tore through it, boy.
and non-commentary. Like, we could have been better. Crap. We could have
Bless
gone
you.
through it in more detail, but we're irresponsible, and we're just not gonna.
We were
That's the new-
speeding through a school zone.
The news dump, you got to get it done. Like, you can't stay forever on the toilet. You can't read a novel. You got to finish. With that being said, it's been a blast hanging out with you guys. Well, we actually need to end this with Jason's thing, so let's do that really quickly. Hold on. There it is. I'm glad that every time I have to switch screens, the chat goes away. So I'm glad we've erased Chance from this podcast. Hopefully in the future, we get rid of his memory as well.
No.
I'm awkwardly trying to open.
So this
Filler,
round
filler.
of the fight, this is the last of the semifinals. We're one fight away from the final match.
There we go.
In this one, we have Iron Fist. He's 5'11", 175 pounds. His powers include pyrokinesis. He's got a healing factor. He's a martial artist. He's expert in hand-to-hand combat, and he can harness his spiritual energy to do various things. And he is going up against Tombstone. Tombstone is 6'7", 215 pounds. He has superhuman strength, reflexes, stamina, and durability. So, on the strength of the fighting skills, I mean, Iron Fist has a lot to overcome. I don't know. If these two just walked into each other and started fighting, I don't know. I have a hard time coming down on one side or the other.
So every time I do one of these, I go back to my knowledge of the heroes, and I ignore the stats on the screen. And so if I go back to my knowledge of the heroes and imagine empty field, they're running into each other, they have to fight. MODOK has transported them to the arena to duke it out. Tombstone, Iron Fist. Tombstone, one of his biggest qualities is not just his strength, but he's extremely durable. He's like a rock.
Yeah.
Is similar in essence
is.
to Luke Cage.
Yeah, very much so.
Iron Fist, of all of the people that could fight Tombstone, is one of the few who can actually damage extreme durability.
Yeah,
And that being
that's what.
qualifying factor, and Iron Fist, no matter what stat they put up, is going to be a better fighter. I would put Iron
Yes, he is.
Fist's abilities giving him an advantage in this fight against Tombstone. That's how I would qualify it.
that's kind of, yeah, I like the way you walked that through, because I was edging towards Iron Fist myself. I just needed more of a structured breakdown, I guess, because
I mean, Iron Fist
them just fighting,
can
he's got
put damage on Luke Cage. I mean, that's how flippin' damaging his Iron Fist is.
Yeah, and the fact that he is so highly trained as a martial artist, and the fact that he can go toe to toe with superpowered individuals really speaks to his abilities.
Sweet.
So, you're gonna say?
Sweet. I'm pretty sure
Sorry,
Iron Fist wins. I think we have a winner.
Yeah, Iron Fist wins, and in our next round, we have Iron Fist versus Luke Cage.
Awesome. Well, we're going to conclude this podcast and move into the secret B-side of the podcast, which we don't talk about. Jason, end of the podcast.
End of the podcast. I hope you guys are enjoying your summer. Man, it's been really hot. Today was kind of nice. But yeah, look, there's been a lot of negativity going around. Find something positive for yourselves, something that you enjoy.
It's getting worse.
Don't listen to what any of the
World War III is
don't listen to
trending.
what other people say about it.
No, super get hype on the World War III. Ross?
Don't defend corporations. They don't need it. They have money. So if you're gonna do it, get paid, you idiots.
And it's always the left who are anti-corporate, very much into defending the corporations.
At least in the entertainment sphere, yeah. Like, it's really bizarre. Because, especially when it's, I mean, not even that long ago, they would have thrashed Disney for anything.
Agreed.
So it's just very bizarre. I don't get it.
Silver,
woken up.
Did you have something for me, Silver?
Well, according to Rhett and Ross, Deadpool was pretty good. Deadpool and Wolverine. Don't count on it saving MCU. It's still going down.
No.
I think it's lost.
I do too. It would require a massive reboot. Like I heard somebody make a comment where what they should have done is Deadpool, because there is a comic where Deadpool kills the MCU.
Kills the Marvel Universe.
And they should have had him show up and kill everybody, which allowed them to reboot. Because they basically need to restart. Because all of the stuff before...
I genuinely thought they were going to do some sort of weird reboot thing at the end of that movie. I really thought they would.
They should have. They should have. At any rate, we're running away, as we always do. Thanks, everybody, for coming along. Goodbye.
If you like the show, follow Rhett, Jason, Ross, and Silver, the world's most lethally stupid internet personalities, on Twitter at DGPodcast or on Instagram at DistractedGamers. If you liked or hated what you heard here today, you can email them at thedistractedgamers@gmail.com and share your feelings. Not that Jason would care, since he hasn't any, of course.
Oh my God, it's so juicy!